All right. Every time you hear that sound, well, almost every time you hear that sound, it is time for the Boom Bar right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Shola Rogers, but what is the Boom Bar?
Oh, okay, that's me.
That's your cue now. Oh.
You were asking yourself a question.
Oh God, you should be sharper now. What happened?
Wow.
Maybe is this lemon water that you're drinking? I hope it's just water.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Yes, and it's just water. I'm going on air to go and say all sorts of things to malign me.
At a bar.
To malign me.
There are several videos of you not drinking water. Also.
Yeah, but seriously, this quantity, not water.
You can have a touch of something.
Anyway,
which is no way.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I bid you a warm welcome to the bar again. If you're a regular customer, and if you're joining us for the very first time, welcome. Of course, it is a bar where we give you gist about everything and anything happening in Nigeria and around the world. We talk sports, entertainment, music, politics, human angle stories, and everything else in between. So whatever comes up as time goes on, we just go with the flow.
That's what it is.
And of course, my name is Adeleke.
Not like we're rudderless. So going with the flow is not because we don't have what to say. We have a long list of.
Nobody said.
It's just that we're very versatile like that. Like Kosibosheje, there's no way the thing happens like this. One time, bring it. We're in the game. That kind of thing. And a big shout out to beautiful Nubia.
Yeah, he was in the studio yesterday. Beautiful.
It was beautiful. Like his name says. And you go check him out. He's got new stuff out there for you. beautifulnubia.com. That's the website. Go check him out. Check out what he's got. And if you're anybody on Saturday, find your way to his show at Bodija.
Okay, so where do we even begin?
We begin at the beginning.
Where do we begin? Okay, let's start. You know what? I was really going to talk about sports, a lot of sports, but I think I'm not going to do that yet. I think because there's a lot to break down. It's a World Cup. It's what everybody's talking about. But I think I'm going to start from things that affects Nigeria. First things first, I'm going to start with a new thing. President Buhari is in the north today where he is, they finally, I think they've begun drilling of oil that's been found in two northern Nigerian states, Bauchi and Gombe. So before, I know that we used to have 8 oil producing states. I think last month there was news of Kogi getting derivation fund. So Kogi became the first northern state to be an oil producing state. Now there's Gombe and Bauchi. I know there were talks at some point that there's even in Lagos as well. And my first question with that is, at this point, are you sure that all Nigerian states are not going to be oil producing states at some point?
Your question is a beautiful question. It's actually what has been going through my mind, and it's stuff that I've always believed for years.
Yeah.
That it's about the commercial quantity. This is the richest country in the world, the most blessed country in the world. When we talk about
Francis Odum says, hi guys. Hello.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? And how's it happening over there? And thanks for always being there. Every country, every state in this country has something in commercial quantity.
Yeah.
But oil, let's limit it to oil. We're talking about crude oil because it's like the lifeblood of the economy, especially in Nigeria, and the byproduct of stuff that we actually, live by. And like now there's fuel scarcity again, so we're going through it. So we do have oil in commercial quantity in confirmed at least less than 10 states now. But I think the number...
it's now 11.
I said less than 10 until they actually start taking the crude. They start pumping it. They're drilling. There's still other processes that they have to go through.
Oh, yeah, but they finally got crude today. So
yes, they have not started selling the crude.
Oh, yeah.
They've not started pumping it out to maybe the refinery or to take it out of Nigeria for sale and everything. You get, but all the other states have already contributed to Nigeria's economy with the production of crude oil. You get, so do we have crude in every part of Nigeria? Most likely yes, depending, because a lot of people had felt it was only something that was exclusively for the eastern and the southern part of Nigeria. Then Lagos came up with his own. Lagos had got this years ago.
Yeah.
And they're building some facilities and they're doing a whole lot of work, towards becoming oil producing and all of that. So, I'm torn between what they tell us about how we need to move away from fossil fuels to clean energy and everything. But our reality...
made money.
it's not even just the money. Our reality is that we need energy.
We do.
We need energy.
Yeah.
One of the things about poverty, they keep talking about poor states or poor areas, but there's research has proven that if you provide power, you can change economies of those clusters. Like, for instance, look around you, the low-end or high-end people, if they have access to regular power, they'll be productive. Even that your cursed tailor, I use cursed loosely, would start to deliver because there's power around the clock. The barber shops, all the cottage industries, they'll be working and be productive. And of course, how do we get this? Gas. We need gas to power the gas turbines of the thermal stations. And the hydro, of course, is still being driven by hydro, but with more production of crude. Because every time people say crude, they think it's just petrol. You need to think about all the byproducts.
There's a lot for it. I think that for now, we're still using crude, so it's okay. And I think that it probably would help a lot more states with the funding, which now we know that according to Governor Wike, money that about 8 states got is only one. We can see the dividends of the money. So that's another talk for another day, because we don't even know how those monies are being spent.
Yeah, the reason why it's a talking point is that it was revealed by a governor. I wonder why, for the life of me, the federal government did not think that they owed us that information. I think they shouldn't treat it like whatever. They should actually treat it like something that is important.
Yeah, I think it's I saw a few people on Twitter yesterday going off that how is Mr. Lai Mohammed the information minister in Nigeria, and how do we get to hear these things in passing from other people and not from the presidency itself, which makes a lot of sense. But I said, story for another day. Now, my other issue with this whole thing is, you see the way crude and exploration of crude has caused a lot of issues in the Niger Delta. Especially the south, there's a lot of oil. There's a lot of pollution that this has caused for it has been something that the Niger Delta has been fighting about for years on end. In fact, I think it's one of the issues for as far back as Ken Saro-Wiwa's time. Even before then, there's always been an issue about pollution that oil has caused. I think I remember a few months ago where there was a case that finally an oil company was said to have, the court had ordered them to pay some communities compensation and all that. Now, my fear about this is that I'm hoping that this thing in 2022, and with a lot more advancement, we won't have to talk about these issues anymore. But the honest truth is that, are we not going to have that same issue in the north as well now? Because now in the north, this is third state.
So your fears are my fears too, and they're very valid. And actually, no right-thinking person will say, even with the level of experience that we have now, that it can happen again. Because you really can't trust politicians.
You can't.
You can't trust people because they've shown you reasons why not to trust them.
I agree.
And it is hoped that we would have learned a lot from the way we handled the Niger Delta. They have suffered a lot.
Even the people of the Niger Delta that they're supposed to be in charge of, like the development commission. We've seen at what they've turned that place to. It's literally like a cash cow.
Yes, it's also largely due to what I was just about to say, that it's about people. It's about individuals, that even if you put in structures and you build platforms and you create systems, if the people don't want to make the system work, they won't make it work. Look at how President Goodluck Jonathan had contracted militants and vigilantes to monitor the pipelines, because they had discovered that pipelines were being vandalized. And look, it takes a lot for you to go and vandalize a pipeline that's
President Goodluck Jonathan or President Buhari?
President Goodluck Jonathan.
Oh, he did that.
Yes,
then.
President Goodluck Jonathan did it, and I know that he had contracted. Even the OPC at some point in time got a contract to monitor pipelines in some parts of the southwest. When this government came in, they cancelled all those contracts and moved on, to their own style. But in recent times, we find that they've gone back to, speaking to at least one of the actors in that sector and giving him more or less the same contract that he had when he was under Goodluck Jonathan. And within the space of a few weeks,
you've seen the amount
we started saying in real time, the pipelines, the way they were being, siphoned, the way crude was being siphoned. We saw a ship that was not supposed to be in Nigerian waters that came, and that was also,
and then tried to run away, and then the Navy was caught.
Arrested it in Guinea or God knows where, brought it back, and all of that. All of this points to one thing: theft. That it's a big industry. There's a squeeze on resources now across the globe, especially with the Ukraine-Russian war. So a lot of eyes are on countries like Nigeria, with our porous borders and porous systems, and with a little bit of connivance with some local Nigerians. This foreign
it's perfect.
These foreign pirates will come and rob you. They're robbing us by stealing, crude oil and all of these things. So if we've learned something, it shouldn't be happening in 2022. It shouldn't be
happening,
And if it's still happening in the Niger Delta in 2022, you cannot guarantee that it won't happen in Gombe, it won't happen in Kogi and Bauchi, because again, apart from Kogi, Gombe and Bauchi were areas and are areas that are going through a lot of
insecurity issues. So you don't want to add all this drama to the already volatile state.
If you look at Zamfara state in Nigeria, where at some point people started wondering why Zamfara, why? But then we heard that there's gold.
There's in commercial quantity of gold. So
you start to understand some of this agitation, so-called, is just a veil to cover what they're doing, which is to steal.
Exactly. It's a very, very interesting thing. But shout out to the residents of Gombe and Bauchi. We hope that this discovery and this new these mining leases that have been given to the petroleum leases that have been given to people in this state, I hope that it is it brings wealth to the states.
We hope that it's better managed.
Yes,
basically manage it better. And with the new petroleum laws that were signed, the states in the north are coming in at an advantage point. This is something that the Niger Delta never had
clamored for. So they're coming in at when there's already proper laws in place for it. So so we definitely will see how this goes. Before we leave this whole matter, President Buhari, the governor of the central bank, which the central bank is a lot in the news because we know that they're going on and on and on virtually every day about there's news. Yesterday it was said that there was a countdown that the CBN had begun for the naira redesign. Earlier in the day, I also saw news that there are a lot of people that are clamoring that these dates need to be extended. There was one that we carried that the Abuja Commerce and Chamber of Commerce and Industry had talked about how the CBN needs to increase the number of days and all that. The CBN had come out, told us that banks are now going to be working on Saturdays for put down to change money. Because me,
you have money to change it.
I don't have cash at all to change. In fact, don't give. I'll tell you someone. I was thinking of saying that I want to hold like all these notes, and then just keep them like for safekeeping. In my mind, I'm like, that's 1,700 naira. Why? For what reason?
You better go and look for that your colo that you have kept for 2 years without putting money in it.
I'm like, why?
The small money inside, bring it out.
I will bring it out and I'm going to spend it. Why am I keeping 1,700? What did Nigeria do for me? I'm sure there are pictures of this thing online. So if my children want to see it, I will show you online. It's
can even snap it with your phone.
It's not as much of a big
and
deal.
back it up on the cloud.
Exactly. Anyway, so the news that we're getting today now is that the governor of the CBN has now said that President Muhammadu Buhari will launch the new naira notes tomorrow. So we get to see the pictures tomorrow. It
reminds me of when we're young. When we're really, really young. New money, don't crop. I buy Gary for 10 crop.
What?
Yes, there was this thing that we used to do. New money, it don't come. I buy Gary for 10 crop.
What's that supposed to do for you?
I give Mary to cook up. Mary cook up, she know. I beat Mary, she know. I give Mary, she know that. Which kind Mary be this? Amina, Tara.
Okay. Please don't say this again, because this sounds like a very violent.
No, it's not. It's what we used to say when we were in primary or secondary school.
That doesn't mean it's not violent.
Oh, you can.
I beat Mary. I didn't say kill. Right. This sounds like a very violent song.
A lot of people are saying this before. You know it, right? The reason why I brought that up is that new money don't come.
Right.
That's
now,
the part. Like
a lot of people get. Okay, a lot of people that are keeping money.
It's still not new. Like a lot of people have not experienced it before. That's why there's this.
Really?
A lot of people have not experienced naira changing.
Maybe really young people though.
Tolupo, has everybody experienced the naira change or money design change?
Okay, maybe not teenagers and all that. Yes.
So
maybe
all the fear and trepidation and all the, don't worry, within the space of a few days everybody's used to it. Because
right now, even in my head, in my mind, I'm like, I don't think I need, because right now I hardly use like cash except I need to buy something. Yeah. So even after changing it, I don't think it's going to change. Like I'm going to rush to an ATM and say, I don't need it.
The truth about it still for a lot of us is that we're actually keyed into the cashless, system.
Yeah.
Most of your transactions are cashless. In fact, you don't even need to. At times it's phone calls. You can actually even call people to, send this.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure that I've not used an ATM. I've not used an ATM in about 2 weeks.
So the thing is, until people realize it, because it is not working, a lot of people have keyed into it.
Oh yeah.
But the reason why we're still talking cash is that there are some people that they don't want to hear it, man. They're not trying to hear
some people want their money.
We were at some eye test place yesterday, and they're saying they don't have a POS. I'm like,
what are you using your life to?
Why wouldn't you have a POS? That there's a POS person downstairs, patronize that person, get cash from the person and come and pay them or do transfers to them.
You
like
have a business.
No, you can't run your business without having all of those things. A serious business will have every and anything. There are some payment solutions now that are online.
Yeah.
Free advert for Flutter, Wave, and the rest of them. You can actually deploy those things and let your business move smoothly.
Exactly.
But hey, what do we know at the end of the day? So the beauty of it is that we will see the designs
tomorrow,
and it will most likely still be the same thing, but the colors will change, and I don't think they're going to change.
Did they say they were going to change the people on it?
Oh, didn't you hear all the rumors and things that people were
maybe
saying?
They want to.
I don't think so. I thought there was a guy that was really angry about it at some ATM that I went to a few weeks ago, and there was an elderly man who actually started lecturing the guy, and the guy works as a security person at the ATM point.
Okay.
And the man was lecturing him and his colleague. They were complaining about naira change, and they're saying they won't bring 2,000, they won't bring 5,000, they won't bring 10,000. Why we go get? I'm like, wow, like where did you even get your own news from? That the guy now brought out his phone. Of course, the app that the guy opened now. It's WhatsApp now. He brings out WhatsApp and he's reading what the government is doing that is wrong, and they're trying. The truth is,
shout out to my people on WhatsApp. How I do not get these messages. It's still a shock at times, because when you hear the things that happens and people say, you see on WhatsApp, like, sorry, the kind of people that you pull.
So if you're ordering naira, it's a good time for you to quickly go.
It's a good time to let it go. If not,
I don't like the calls by anybody. The Senate, the Nigerian Senate,
the National Senate had talked about
Abuja
it.
Chamber of Commerce have called.
And I'm like, why?
Miyetti Allah.
Yeah.
I've also said, extend the date for the no.
Right now, what makes sense for anybody, even
No.
before December 15th, is if you have cash, take it to the bank now to avoid the rush. That's all. You don't even need to wait for December 15th. So I don't get why people are actually calling for that. It does not make any sense to me. Change your money before before January 31st, and that's it. And you don't even need to change it.
Spraying the naira is illegal. So I'm not encouraging you to spray the naira. But listen to this. In the 80s, when there was this change, it was even Buhari that was president there. So it was my grandfather's burial, and I heard that I'm not saying that I saw it.
Wow.
That they were spraying.
Wow, you heard.
They were spraying, naira. Of course, they were spraying during the party and everything.
You people, you not see with your ears. Just wanted to put that out.
I heard. So the thing is, because they changed the color of the denomination, like maybe 10 naira was like brownish, they made it red. Then 5 naira was this, they made it green.
They change the people on it as well.
They more or less like just changed the color
design,
the color coding of the naira, and some designing and all of that. And so people who were used to the naira, like 20 naira being green,
20 naira is still green.
I'm just using it. I didn't say that was exactly what happened.
Yeah.
People who were used to 20 naira being green, didn't know that it had now taken the color of another denomination.
Okay.
So at that party, someone got those new notes.
Yeah.
And was spraying a higher denomination.
Yeah.
But it was treated like a lower denomination. And so people carted away some of that money and all of that. Yeah. Because it was when they looked at it, they were like, oh wow, this is actually big. This is big, Then there was nothing like 1,000 naira or 500 naira.
I think that I was alive at the point when 1,000 naira was introduced.
There was nothing like 1,000 then.
Yeah.
At all.
Anyway, so I think we should move on from that. Anyway, CBN has increased interest rate again for people that want to know. But I was going to talk about some politics, but it looks like time has gone. But I did not want to let this go. So let's switch it up a little bit and do a little bit of World Cup talks. Let's start from we didn't have time to analyze how the World Cup when it started on Sunday. Yesterday we would have talked about Sunday game. But I think it started with Qatar, yeah? And the World Cup started on Sunday with Qatar and Ecuador defeating the host 2-0. Did you think it was going to go anywhere?
It's Ecuador now, and Qatar, they're not known exactly for being a footballing nation.
Yeah.
But they've been working on it for years. It showed in the way they played. They didn't play too badly. But look, it's in fact, I was shocked that they couldn't get more. Maybe because Valencia got injured or whatever. I just don't know. But it was more or less like Qatar stepped up their game in the second half. Because it could have been worse.
It could have been worse, yeah.
But kudos to both teams.
Yeah,
they gave a good account
and still
of themselves.
in the Group A game that was now played yesterday, the first game was Senegal and Netherlands, and that ended with a 2-0 in favor of Netherlands. Please, where's my money?
The result is not commensurate with the game.
Oh, really? I didn't watch the
Senegal were not as bad as people made them out to be. Yes, they were missing Sadio Mane, yes, but they actually had a good chance of coming out with a draw or even winning that game against the Netherlands. You know, they played well. They had, there's this guy, Sarr. Sarr was all over the place. He was getting shots on goal and all of that. Look, did Qatar even have a single shot on goal in their own game?
You know, the interesting part for me was, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was going to go any other way. I kind of was not like I was rooting for Netherlands, but it's Netherlands, it's Holland though. For people who don't know who Netherlands, it's Holland. They're not doing badly. Netherlands has Van Dijk in that team. It is a wonderful team. Over the years, they've not done badly at all as a football nation. So I felt that, in fact, to me, I felt that this game was probably going to be Senegal's most difficult game in their group.
Well, hopefully it should be. The thing, again, is that it was late goals, Now, a lot of blame has been handed to Mendy, the goalkeeper. People feel that he wasn't up to par. I said, okay, well, it's still teamwork at the end of the day. Maybe he's going to take some blame for the way the game ended.
The game ended, yeah.
But they actually did hold their own until the last minutes of the game. Shout out to Cody Gakpo, the Netherlands player, who actually, stepped up big time. And the results would say 2-0. But for me, I think Senegal didn't do too badly. Sadly, they lost.
They didn't do too badly. Another person that came out guns blazing yesterday afternoon was England and Iran. That game ended 6-2. Looks like English boys decided to just, pa.
Yeah, it was a rampant England team that came to the party yesterday. Captain Harry Kane deserves a lot of mention for being selfless. He's the goal-getter. He's their number 9, the top striker. But he was creating goals for and taking on players and drawing them out wide and sending in assists and everything. Especially the Sterling goal, right? Sterling's goal, was such a beauty. It was subliminal. It was sublime. It was all the S's that you can think of. Then my star boy was
the man of the match,
Bukayo Saka. He, coming from the last England tournament where himself, Jadon Sancho, and
Rashford,
Rashford were singled out for
losing penalties,
for abuse. They were cursed. They were racially abused and everything, and that was really something that
it's very interesting. I saw someone that wrote yesterday that everybody that scored yesterday was black, and then,
except for Grealish,
yeah, and it came out and then the person was now referring to what happened before with the racial issues and all that.
These were the same players that were maligned, at the Euros and everything.
Yeah.
Then again, what's his name? Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, he came with the first goal.
Had a beautiful game.
He was a starter, and that was That was amazing.
Then Rashford comes in, less than I think it was 43 seconds or so, less than 50 seconds into the game, boom, goal. That's what you call an impact sub, you know. Then he also made the goal for Grealish. Now Grealish, before the World Cup, had met with a young England fan. I think the guy's under 10 years old, who had I think he has a brain issue, some kind of ailment or something, and he made a request of Grealish that Grealish was like, oh, what can I do? He said that your celebration, that he told him how to celebrate, that he should do something like this. So when Grealish scored, he said the next goal you score. So when Grealish scored, he did the celebration for that fan, and that was beautiful for me. Like I said, yes, at the end of the day, it was a rampant 6-2. The Iranian team actually did do themselves well by scoring
they're scoring two goals. At least it wasn't a clean sheet. I think shout out to them. Like you had said, Qatar, Iran too was not a country that the Middle Eastern countries are really not countries that are really known for football. But for you to hold your own and get 2 goals against the English team is not doing badly. Another drama that kind of read on social media yesterday about the English team was when the whole the team list was released, and everybody was going on about how we know that Phil Foden and Bukayo Saka, they actually literally play the same thing, and how Phil Foden seemed to have been benched for Bukayo Saka. But obviously he came up to prove everybody, not everybody, I won't say I was, but a lot of people wrong, that it was Southgate made the right decision.
Yeah, if it had gone south for Southgate, you see what I did there, right? If it had gone south for Southgate, everybody would have clamored for his head. Like, he's got to go, and this and that. He had a better player on the bench and all of that. But hey, it's history now. Saka came out, and he came out big.
Oh yes,
and he justified his inclusion in the starting lineup.
Yeah. So before yesterday ended, there was a USA Wales game, also the Group B, which ended 1-1. Interesting thing that everybody was talking about is the USA team got their goal from Timothy Weah, who is the son of the Liberian president. There's also Wales, where we got they also got a penalty in where Gareth Bale actually scored that goal. I was reading some stats. It's the first time both of them are meeting each other. We know that when you think of USA and football, the first thing you think of is the women's team. The men's team is not the kind of team that you think. In fact, until a few days ago, I didn't even know they were going to the World Cup. So it's very interesting that then Wales is, or would I say, we never thought of Wales to be a bad team at all. You know, they've also kind of also held their own for a while, even though they've not been to the World Cup in a while, which I honestly thought that Wales was going to conveniently beat the US team. But I saw highlights of that, and I think they've stepped up their game.
Oh yes, well, leading up to that game, the last game they won was actually the qualifiers, that they had to play against Ukraine.
Yeah.
And
that's Wales.
They had a woeful run-up.
Oh yeah, it said that was they had lost about 5 games before that.
In 8,
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 games in 8, and so they didn't go in as as favorites and all of that. Then the US men's national team, of course they had the hype again. Oh, the president had called them. This and that.
I think that they themselves, they need to step up, because having a women's team, which normally is always the other way around, that is literally the best in the world. They're the most popular women's team in the world. Yeah. And then the men's team is just there. I think they have a lot to
a lot of people who say this thing, I see them as pushing an agenda. I've seen a lot of it. There's a lady that tweeted from the US and said, oh, the US men's national team exists. It was funny. I saw the joke in it, but I'm like, come on guys, these guys have been playing. Look, as far back as the 70s, the US had started a professional football league that had the likes of Pele playing in it.
It's just never
then
stepped up.
They stopped playing football for a long time. But at that time was when the women started. And the women never looked back.
Yeah.
So soccer in America is regarded more as a woman's game than it is. It's just now, in the recent times, that they're really trying to create a lot of awareness. So I get it when people say that, but make una dey chill small once in a while.
Anyway, so today we saw some phenomenal football. At the moment, Denmark is playing with Tunisia, where it is still 0-0. Yeah, you never would have thought that. I thought that this was going to go easily for Denmark, but Tunisia, thinking about it too, Tunisia is not a bad team though. So,
well, for me, any team that's out of Africa will have my support. Any team, including the Ghanaian team too.
They will.
I said that kind of.
I was expecting some snide remark.
So Tunisia, they're not a bad team. They're not a bad team at all.
The game is about to end. So
people need to realize that at the World Cup, anything
can happen. Just as you said, anything can happen. Argentina, who they're officially the third best team in the whole world, have now been stunned by the 51st best team in the world. Yes, I went to Google it. If you are wondering why I know it, yeah. As of today, of course, earlier today's game started with Argentina and Saudi Arabia, and it is very, very interesting that I'm sure that a lot of people will have lost a lot of bets today because you thought it was a one-way. I also thought it was a one-way trip today with Argentina, especially when the game started and Lionel Messi decided to, open up the game. Then there was a second goal that VAR disallowed. So you thought, okay, this was Argentina's game, only for Saudi Arabia to come back and then stun, defeat, obliterate the Argentinian team with 2-1.
There was no obliteration. Yes, there was a defeat. And
for you to defeat Argentina,
they actually,
even if they don't do anything else,
they actually had a couple of goals disallowed. Apart from the beautiful one that you referred to, there's another one. I think it was Lautaro Martinez or so. If you look at that game, or if you watch the game or go watch the highlights, you see it was Argentina all over. Like they were like wicked, they were doing their thing. But we must give kudos to the Arabian team, the Saudi Arabian team. Mm-hmm. Saudi Arabia did not play with fear. And I looked at that game and I said, this is how you play a World Cup game.
A World Cup game, yeah. Everybody's going on about the coach as well.
The Argentines used to having a team in green play them at the World Cup and they would beat that team.
Yeah.
You get. So maybe they thought it was the same team.
I've been seeing a lot of tweets. Someone said that if this was even Nigeria playing Saudi Arabia, with the way they play today, they don't see how Nigeria would have beaten Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of
their second goal.
There's a lot of back and forth about this game, and then there were videos of the Saudi Arabian fans basically mocking the Argentines.
Speaking about the fans, there's a video of Roy Keane and Gary Neville, analyzing and talking about the team, group by group. And when it got to the Saudi Arabian team, Gary Neville said, that they're going to have thousands of their fans since Qatar is just down the road. And Roy Keane said, are the fans going to play? And Gary, they all burst out into laughter. They busted out into laughter and all of that.
Now it looks like,
but hey, I'm sure Gary Neville hey. Yo, Roy, did you see the result? Did you
see what happened? Yeah, like you said, anything can happen. It is the World Cup. I just do not envy Mexico and Poland. I know that maybe Argentina is going to come back. I do not see them losing this at the group stage. Personally, I do not see them losing at the group stage. I think that is most likely be guns blazing with Mexico and Poland as time goes on. But Mexico and Poland are going to be playing at 5 p.m. Also, I think the one that I am really interested in is by 8 p.m. France and Australia are also going to be playing. It is 81 minutes now, Denmark and Tunisia, and it is still goalless.
All right, that's what
so
it is.
It is what it is. We will see how we will obviously every day we will come back with updates about the World Cup. Anyway, as we move on, there's still a lot of things that we're going to talk about, and now we're going to move on to the courts. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is I think that we're in a country where I've heard a lot of people say this a lot, but I think I'm beginning to believe it, where I've heard a lot of people talk about how the courts in Nigeria are one of our problems. And to me, I think that they are an agent of confusion. Why do I say so? For the past few days, even on Boom Radio, on the Boom Bar, we have been doing countdowns to the elections. And I think it is 95 days to the elections now. Now, the court has ordered that INEC resume voters registration until 90 days to the 2023 elections, which is I put all those out so that you would understand where I'm coming from. That they should not stop the continuous voters registration until 90 days before the next general elections. Now, it is 95 days to elections. You now said that according to the Electoral Act, it is 90 days to elections that they're supposed to stop voters registration. A voters registration that had been going on for over a year. Now they're supposed to open up their portal and all that for 5 days.
Well, if the law, as much as I feel that the judiciary has not really lived up to expectations, if the law says 90 days to the election, then the law says 90 days to the election.
I get the part where there is 90 days to election, but there's also the part where, remember that all these dates and all that were approved by the Senate, by the presidency. The INEC also came to state their case about how there's time that needs to be done.
So all those parties are now subject to being party to an illegal approval. That's it. If the
INEC, are you saying that the law in itself or the court cannot be discretionary? Because now, what part of INEC's issue is that they need the time to set up, to give people. What's the point of having, what's it called? What's the point of having, doing the registration when your card will not be ready for elections? It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so again, we know that if the law says 90 days, it is 90 days. Who put the 90 days clause in the law? Why was it approved at 90 days when INEC knows that 90 days is not feasible? In this case, the judiciary is correct. It's laughable that
I'm not saying that they're not correct.
It's just 5 days.
It's just 5 days. That's where my issue is. But it's the law. Now let me print a scenario for you, because you have a point that you want to make, but I get that. If I am a presidential aspirant or any of these other aspirants, and the law says 90 days, and INEC stopped it 140 days ago, the days that they used to stop it, I can actually go to court and say that INEC has prevented my supporters from registering. Okay,
they have been disenfranchised.
So what happens if INEC opens up the portal and then for those number of days, and your supporters cannot get?
Then the elections will not be valid, because if they have done it by law, the law empowers you to register me. You have registered me and my supporters, and we can't get our PVCs, then we are still disenfranchised. Then there's something wrong with the entire system. So next time they're putting things out, because I hope someone doesn't go to court over this. If the person goes to court, the Nigerian constitution is supreme. It supersedes anything.
Everything.
So if any of these politicians actually takes this up and goes to court over this and says, this is what has happened, this is what shouldn't be happening, and it has happened, and I'm going to court, and he gets a judgment that can put paid to any of the plans that anybody has, for some election in 2023.
Okay, on that note, we're still talking about the courts, more like a tribunal now, where we know that there's an ongoing tribunal for the about the Osun State governorship elections. There's been a lot of drama, going back and forth, and now the new talk now is that there's been reports that that there was some sort of overvoting in favor of the PDP candidate or the governor-elect, which is now, is very interesting. There's a lot of back and forth. Last week we talked about it, where the tribunal had ordered the Osun State INEC, the residential electoral commissioner for Osun State, to produce the credentials that the PDP governorship candidate had used to contest in 2018, which in my mind, I'm like, why do you need 2018 for an election in 2022? I still don't understand why. Now, there's also reports now that they're saying that INEC has come back to say that they cannot find those results.
So if you applied for, say, a UK visa, Australian visa, whatever country visa in 2018, then you apply again in 2022, your information should not be different.
Okay, if it's not, but those things
as it
are.
Concerns,
but that's gone. He didn't win the elections.
As it concerns your trip or your plan, it's the same way for elections. If you have presented certain documents, you must be able to reproduce those documents, especially if you have presented new documents that are supposed to supersede that one. But that doesn't mean that the ones you presented then are jettisoned, that they are null and void. They're not.
So are you saying that if there is like some discrepancies, that looks more like a criminal case than an electoral case?
And what does the Electoral Act say about such situations? There must be some part there where you're not allowed to even contest an election
in the first place,
if you have such baggage and all of that.
In the first place. Also, like we have said, the Election Tribunal had struck out the application of the council because I don't understand INEC's issue at the moment, where the Independent National Electoral Commission had filed to set aside the subpoena issued to produce these credentials.
Okay, so look at it again. If I do not have anything to hide, if I am subpoenaed, if I am asked to produce certain documents or invited to appear in court over a matter,
exactly, you come out and
I will go.
Exactly.
There are people who will go and get injunctions stating that they shouldn't allow them go to those places.
Because now INEC is supposed to be the umpire. So why are they trying to stop? All you need to do is 2 people submitted things to you. All you needed to do is release what was submitted to you, and that's it. So why are you trying to look for?
INEC, the umpire, is an entity, but members of staff of INEC are individuals representing the entity INEC. So if there's proof that someone working with or for them is culpable or allegedly involved in some kind of fraud, then you would understand why they're running from pillar to post.
I really hope, I really honestly hope that INEC is not culpable in this matter, because there's already been a lot of talk about INEC. A few days ago there was talks of how INEC is registering underage people, and there's double registration here and there, and that puts a lot of question to the kind of elections we have been having and the elections we're about to have.
It does, actually. And the underage registration is pan-Nigeria. At some point in time, a lot of names were discovered up north, but people have started bringing out names from people in the southeast
as well.
too. And who's to say that they don't exist, on the register in the southwest, south, and other
places as
regions.
well. Exactly.
So it goes again back to INEC's table. There's a lot of work for them to do.
Exactly. And before we leave politics matter, now Governor Wike is in the news again, where yesterday, I know that last week he had pledged logistics support to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, and I think a lot of people on social media went to town with it and were jubilant. That looked like Governor Wike had endorsed their candidate.
I remember that it was on Friday here at the bar. We had Nelson Ekujuni here, and I was trying to point out, and I know he also did. I was trying to point out that it was being specific. He said Rivers State.
Yeah.
Logistics in Rivers State.
And even logistics in Rivers State, it looked. A lot of people still assume that.
Then we also said, what is his end game? That we will see how he addresses the other
everybody else
people
as well.
And it's almost as if you could predict that.
You could predict it.
Yes, Wike was going to play politics at the highest level.
Exactly.
And that's what he did yesterday.
Yes.
When Kwankwaso was in Port Harcourt.
Yeah, and he had wonderful things to say about the NNPP presidential candidate as well, and also pledging same words, logistics support for the NNPP in Rivers State. Now, what does that tell me? That sounds like someone that is telling you that we will give everybody a level playing field. Does not mean you people are going to win. That's the way it seems.
I had a discussion with someone a couple of years ago, many years ago actually. This time around, I'll say many. And that's when I found out from him, being a more experienced person when it comes to business and politics, how businessmen would support different candidates in the same election. That you would find, and that's why a lot of them will not come out openly, to say they're supporting this particular candidate. Some of them would, like Femi Otedola came out a couple of months ago to support his own candidate and all. But some of them would not. So the same way they will reach out to the candidate and say, oh, this is 100 million for your campaign. They'll do it to this person,
and that person. But it's good to be,
they
nice to everybody.
Never lose. They don't lose.
Exactly.
Because if the other two lose out, at least one will win.
At least somebody
and the one that wins will
still be on the good side of,
I think that's what Wike is doing.
I'm still talking about that. A PDP, would I say a PDP person, on the person of Reno Omokri, who's been very vocal about this. I saw videos of him going on and on about the APC presidential candidate, and in my mind I'm like, why are you stressing yourself? Why do you talking this much about this somebody else's party's candidate? Anyway, now he has tweeted and said on this matter that I hope Obedience, who were celebrating Wike's promise of logistical support to Obi as an endorsement, heard what Wike told Kwankwaso yesterday. He gave the same support of logistical support, another way of saying you will lose, so I will help you lose well.
Look, it's all politics at the end of the day.
I think it's just diplomacy.
No, I'm actually talking about the person you read his Twitter.
Oh, him. Reno.
Reno is a strong supporter of Abubakar Atiku. He most likely even works with him or for him on his election project. But you see, this is him still trying to follow up with his usual engagement in quotes with supporters of Peter Obi. Is becoming like some kind of soap opera. They're back and forth on the matter, and this is another salvo from him. Exactly. I'm sure that Obi supporters will not take it lying down, and they will find something to throw back at him.
Also, looks like the Christian Association of Nigeria looks like they are the delight of presidential candidates now, where we talked about it at the bar, where the ABC presidential candidate, who that he had criticized from get the minute he unveiled his running mate. They had a meeting with him last week. Now today there's news of how the PDP presidential candidate and his running mate, and also the Labour Party presidential candidates, have all gone to meet the leaders of the Christian Association of Nigeria.
The Christian Association of Nigeria, they're getting involved. Everybody says, people should get involved. They're getting involved. They are getting the candidates to come have a sit down with them, challenging them and also speaking to them, and probably able to extract some kind of promises from them too. If they win, they would be obliged to fulfill those promises if any of these guys wins. But I still don't like the religious tint to politics. One of the top leaders of the Christian family in Nigeria recently said it. He has a large congregation that he's not going to come out to say he's supporting someone or whatever and all of that. And I think that's the way CAN should be. Now, I'm not saying that CAN shouldn't get involved, because at some point they were sounding like some kind of partisan group. But now, with these meetings, maybe they're trying to launder their image, or maybe they're trying to do the right thing by talking to everybody, and create a level playing field for people, because we need to be careful how we bring religion into politics.
Exactly.
There's politics in everything, but we should be careful how we bring religion into politics.
Exactly.
We need to be very careful.
Okay, and I'm still talking about that quickly before we go. There's news that popped up where a fake landlady of 17 years finally got arrested and remanded in Abuja Suleja Custodial Center. I know that you read a bit of it. Please, can you break it down? Because I've read it like twice, but I still don't understand how this can happen.
All right, so fake landlady in court lives in one flat in a block of 6 flats, which means it's like a 2-story building in Wuse in Abuja. And if you know Abuja, Wuse is not a bad access at all, you get. So she started pretending to own the house, largely due to the fact that the owner is old. As we speak, it is said that the real owner of the building is 80 years old. So this person must have taken advantage, or allegedly took advantage of that situation and started charging rent. So I think it was sometime in 2006 or thereabout that it was brought to the attention of the owner, and she's made several efforts to reclaim her house. It just didn't work. And now they're claiming that the fake landlady, who lives in one of the flats anyway, has been using proceeds from the other 5 flats, to fight against the owner of the building.
Okay, so my point is, the people that are renting the apartments, how are they renting apartments from someone that... Okay, they would have thought that she was the one.
How are they going to know? Look, come on, look. You've been in situations where people walk up to you and start making inquiries about properties now, just because you live there, or you know someone that lives there or something. I get
what you're saying.
So the owner went to court, and the fake landlady in court refused to appear in court until the bench warrant, twice she refused to appear, was issued. Now she's been arrested and taken to court, and it looks like the court will soon pass a judgment on this matter. But man, how do you...
That long, from 2006, fear people, fear human beings. Anyway, on that note, that is all we'll be able to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, 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 very much for watching. We will be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time with another wonderful edition of The Bar. There's a lot that we didn't talk about that will come up tomorrow. Of course, there's a lot of World Cup updates that would come up. Before we leave, I think that the game between Denmark and Tunisia has ended. It's ended 0-0. So just to put that out there. Thank you, and we will be back tomorrow. Catch ya.